Good morning, everyone. Today we'll discuss about bilirubin metabolism and jaundice, and the competency describe the metabolism of bilirubin and enumerate the etiology and pathogenesis of jaundice, and distinguish between direct and indirect hyperbilirubinemia. So today we'll discuss about what is the learning point and what is the biomedical importance and what is bilirubin metabolism and what is jaundice and what is the difference between this indirect and direct hyperbilirubinemia. So the learning objective: identify the two amphibolic intermediate from which heme is synthesized, and at the end of this session everyone should be able to name the key enzyme of hepatic heme biosynthesis, and at the end of this session everyone should be able to explain why porphyrinogens, porphyrins both are tetravirols and porphyrins are colored whereas poor porphyrin are colorless. Everyone should know the different enzymes of heme biosynthesis. Some are mitochondrial enzymes and some are cytosolic enzymes. So what are the mitochondrial heme synthesis enzyme and what are the cytosolic heme synthesis enzyme? Everyone should know at the end of this session. Everyone should be able to indicate the step conversion of heme to bilirubin in the cytoplasm as well as the steps in the mitochondria. And at the end of this session everyone should be able to understand and what are the clinical presentation and what are the mechanism of different porphyrias. And at the end of this session everyone should be able to know how bilirubin is metabolized and what is the definition of jaundice and what are the different type of jaundice, what are the approach for determining its biochemical underpinnings. So again, coming to the biochemical importance, at the end of this session everyone should be able to know what are the biochemistry of porphyrins and what are the bile pigment and how is heme synthesized, the different steps, and porphyrins and iron, and the biochemistry of porphyrin of heme and the basic for understanding the varied functions of the different hemoprotein. And we also have to understand the importance of porphyrias, which is a group of disease caused by the abnormalities in the pathway of porphyrin biosynthesis. So again, the biochemical importance. Jaundice is very common. So what is jaundice? And it's a much more common clinical condition, a consequence elevated where there is increased level of plasma bilirubin due to either overproduction of bilirubin or due to failure of excretion. So jaundice occurs in numerous diseases ranging from hemolytic anemias to different viral hepatitis to cancer, especially the cancer of head of the pancreas. We'll start with catabolism of heme produces bilirubin. Okay, so now catabolism of heme produces bilirubin. How bilirubin is formed? So human adults normally destroy about 200 billion erythrocytes per day, and a 70-gram weight human adult turn over approximately 6 grams of hemoglobin per day. So globin is degraded to its constituent amino acid, and the released iron enters the iron pool and all products are reused. So free iron porphyrin portion of heme is degraded in the reticuloendothelial cells, that is the liver, spleen and bone marrow. So catabolism of heme from all heme proteins carried out in the microsomal fraction of the cell by enzyme heme oxygenase. So this diagram shows how alteration in the metabolism of heme produces different type of jaundice that we will be discussing in detail. So here in this figure A, so the hemolysis occur in the endothelial cells, then bilirubin will enter the liver, then when there is no conjugation, unconjugated bilirubin, for example in case of hemolytic anemia, then this bilirubin will be entered into the hepatocyte, then bilirubin glucuronide is formed, and further it goes down to the intestine, and there it forms this urobilinogen and excreted in the form of stercobilin. And in case of neonatal jaundice, what happened here? The enzyme bilirubin glucuronide transferase is not either fully developed, and unconjugated bilirubin will enter hepatocytes, then it will bind it will conjugate it, then it goes further to intestine, then it is supposed to be excreted. But due to the immature bilirubin glucuronide transferase, the excretion may be less or it may not be properly conjugated. So this is the steps of heme catabolism. So the senescent red cells are a major source of hemoproteins. There will be breakdown of heme to bilirubin, which occurs in the macrophages of the reticuloendothelial system, the tissue macrophages, spleen, and liver. And in the liver, unconjugated bilirubin is transported through the blood complex to albumin to the liver. And further, bilirubin is taken up by the liver and conjugated with glucuronic acid. Then further conjugated bilirubin is secreted into bile and then in the intestine. So in the intestine, the glucuronic acid is removed by bacteria. The resulting bilirubin is converted to urobilinogen. Then some of the urobilinogen is reabsorbed from the gut and enters the portal circulation. And a portion of this urobilinogen participate in the enterohepatic urobilinogen cycle. Further, the remainder of the urobilinogen is transported by the blood to the kidney, where it is converted to urobilin and excreted, giving urine its characteristic yellow color. Then urobilinogen is oxidized by the intestinal bacteria to become the brown color stercobilin. These are the 10 steps of catabolism of heme, and how from these senescent red cells to finally stercobilin, and there is the intermediate, that is the enterohepatic cycle. So same diagram shows how RBC lysis and hemoglobin is released, and from heme biliverdin is formed, then bilirubin is formed, and this will be entered to the liver, and bilirubin diglucuronide is formed, and further it will be excreted to the bile duct, then it comes to the small intestine, further it goes down to large intestine, and finally stercobilin is formed. So around 300 milligram per dl of stercobilin is produced. Intermediate from the large intestine, some fraction will go to the enterohepatic circulation of the blood, and then some part will go to this urobilinogen in blood, will enter the kidney, then urobilinogen is formed and urobilin is excreted, which is a yellow color. So heme oxygenase synthesis, substrate inducible. Heme also serve both as a substrate, also as a cofactor for the reaction. Iron heme that reaches heme oxygenase has usually been oxidized to its ferric form, that is hemine. So conversion of 1 mole of this heme ferrous to biliverdin carbon dioxide, then ferrous consumes 3 molecules of oxygen plus 7 electrons provided by NADH and NADPH cytochrome by this cytochrome P450 reductase. So ferrous heme plus 3 molecule of oxygen and 7 molecule of these hydrogen ions, it will be converted to biliverdin carbon dioxide and ferrous iron. So despite high affinity heme ferric, the carbon monoxide produced does not severely inhibit heme oxygenase. In bird and amphibian excrete the green colored biliverdin directly, and in human the biliverdin reductase reduces the central methylene bridge into biliverdin to a methyl group, producing the yellow pigment bilirubin. So the reaction shows biliverdin plus NADPH and hydrogen ion, finally it forms bilirubin and NADP. So this is the conversion of ferric heme to biliverdin and then to bilirubin. So the heme oxygenase system forms biliverdin, which biliverdin reductase reduces to bilirubin. Conversion of 1 mole of ferric iron to biliverdin carbon monoxide, and ferrous consumes 3 molecules of oxygen plus 7 electron provided by NAD and NADPH and cytochrome P450 reductase. So this is how ferric heme is converted to biliverdin and finally to bilirubin. So 1 gram of hemoglobin yields about 35 milligram of bilirubin. In human adults, form 250 to 350 milligram of bilirubin per day, and derived principally from hemoglobin but also from ineffective erythropoiesis from catabolism of heme proteins. And conversion of this heme to bilirubin in the reticuloendothelial cells can be observed visually as the purple color of the heme in the form of hematoma, and slowly it will convert to yellow pigment, that is the bilirubin. So bilirubin is transported to the liver bound to serum albumin. So bilirubin only sparingly water soluble, but bilirubin bound to serum albumin readily transported to the liver. Then albumin appears to have both a high or low affinity site of bilirubin. So the high affinity can bind approximately 25 mg of bilirubin per 100 ml of plasma. So more loosely bound bilirubin can readily be detached, then diffused to the tissues, and antibiotics, certain other drugs can compete with displaced bilirubin and albumin's high affinity site. So further metabolism of bilirubin occurs primarily in the liver, and hepatic catabolism of bilirubin takes place in 3 stages, that is uptake by the liver, next conjugation with glucuronic acid, and further secretion in the bile. So coming to uptake of bilirubin by liver parenchymal cells, bilirubin removed from albumin is taken up at the sinusoidal surface of the hepatocyte, large capacity, saturable, and facilitated transport system. Even under pathologic conditions, transport does not appear to be rate limiting for the metabolism of bilirubin. Net uptake of bilirubin depends upon removal of the subsequent metabolism. Once internalized, bilirubin binds to cytosolic proteins such as glutathione S transferase, previously known as ligandin, to prevent bilirubin from re-entering the bloodstream.